Everyone is going to give you advice when you get a Gundog. The internet is going to tell you one thing, Instagram is going to tell you another, and your mate down the pub is going to tell you something completely different. But there is advice that nobody gives. The stuff that is actually going to change your life with your dog. So you have finally decided to get a dog and you've chosen a Gundog breed. Let me be the first one to congratulate you and hope that your sanity is intact. No, obviously, I am joking with that one. You are genuinely going to have a fantastic journey with your dog as long as you implement what I'm about to tell you. You've probably already scrolled through a million things on exercise, training and equipment, and it can actually seem quite overwhelming. But here is what I actually want to talk about. And this stuff will make a difference, I promise. The first piece of advice I want to give you is making sure that you research the breed. I cannot stress enough how important this is. Don't go and get a dog because they look cool, because spoiler alert, that was me. That is exactly what I did when I was very young and naive. I'd got a little bit of money left over from my birthday and I thought, you know what? I've seen a couple of these cool looking spaniels. I fancy my chances with one. You need to know what you are bringing home. You need to make sure that this dog is going to fit your lifestyle. Now, this might seem a little bit of tough love, but don't go and get a dog because you want to become more of an outdoorsy person, because chances are if that's just not your lifestyle, you're never going to be cut out for that lifestyle in the first place. The dog needs to fit into what is already existing. Now, don't get me wrong, you are going to need to make some changes to lifestyle here and there, but you have to get something that is going to suit your life and what you want to do with your life. It's also going to be crucially important that you understand what these dogs were bred to do. So don't be like me, who was 18 and had an out-of-controlled spaniel. It's really not a great look. So if you've already got a dog and you have done your research, the rest of this video is going to apply to you as well. My next piece of advice, and this is something that I wish I knew all those years ago, and that is make sure that you seek advice early. Now, I don't mean just going to a generic puppy class that's in some crusty old town hall with a bunch of yappy dogs that aren't actually learning anything. I mean, I want you to actively go out and seek some help from a professional who's going to be able to help you with your dog. Now, you may think you want to just go out and do it yourself. How hard can it be, right? If you go and try and DIY it like I did all those years ago, unfortunately, you're just not going to get very far. This is going to take expertise in order to get you to your training goals. Now, you might give me the age-old saying of, oh, I've had dogs all my life, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I can guarantee I've probably trained more dogs in 3 days than you have over your entire lifetime. So you definitely need to go and see a professional, as every single dog is going to be different. And I get it, going and DIYing it yourself might seem like the right thing to do because you'll have a couple of little easy wins here and there and you might feel like you're on top of the world. But if you've got genuine guidance from a professional who knows your dogs inside and out, it's just going to project you forward and you're going to be in a much better place. And coaches like me aren't just for dogs with behavioural issues either. In fact, I absolutely love it when people inquire with me with puppies, because it means we've literally got this sponge that's just going to soak up all the information that we need to teach them and set them up for the utmost success. And it isn't just for puppies. Say you've got an adolescent dog, please, for the love of God, do not just wait for them to grow out of it, because chances are they're just not going to. Getting help early is going to save you months of stress, time and money. Take my program, for example, my 60-day program. If you were to dedicate just 60 days to your dog, you think a life expectancy of just say a Cocker Spaniel is anywhere between like 15 years. That's the next 15 years of a smashing life with your dog if you just put in the work in the early stages. Do it once and do it right. Do not wait for it to become a problem. My next piece of advice, and something that I do truly believe to be very, very important, and that is make sure that you honour the breed. Gundogs are bred for purpose. They're bred to hunt, point, track, retrieve, all these very intense, amazing things. And if you give them safe and structured ways to do these things, you are going to have a happy life with your Gundog breed. And if not, you're just going to end up with a frustrated fuckhead that's just going to do your head in 24/7. And in my opinion, honouring these breeds is non-negotiable. If you feel like you can tackle a Gundog breed, you have to understand that it is going to come with the need of needing to fulfill them. And fulfillment really isn't that hard if you know what you're doing, so don't go and overcomplicate it like everyone else seems to do. And this next piece of advice is something that I wish everyone would do, and that is making sure that you invest in your relationship and not just the tools. And you know, toys, harnesses, collars, leads, whatever you want, they are very nice, but it's not going to help with your relationship, let's be honest. And they don't replace clear communication, trust, and consistency either. Your bond with your dog is actually going to be the main thing that is going to change and have that shift between your dog and their behaviour. Tools are just a secondary thing that we implement afterwards. Of course, they are very important and they do have a space in raising your dog, but it's very important that you do not miss relationship first. And this next one is something that I see probably almost every person do, and its fault is probably social media, and that is comparing yourself to others. You cannot base your training journey or your life off a literal 30-second clip that you've seen on Instagram, because I can guarantee you that these same people that are doing these 30-second clips will have gone through some level of hardship and training in their training journey with their dog. What you have to remember is every dog is individual. They are their own separate entity. No two dogs are the same. That spaniel on Instagram is not the same as your dog, even if it is the same breed and colour. And even the same litter can be different as well. You know, just because you might have siblings, does that mean you're exactly the same as your brothers and sisters because you have the same mum? No, it doesn't. And you might go, that looks like our Marley. It isn't, alright? So cut it out. And like I mentioned, that perfect behaviour that you see on social media is probably just a highlight of all the good stuff. That's not a reflection of that dog 24/7. What you need to do is focus on you and your dog. You are on your own journey, and that's what matters. Now, this one's a lot easier said than done, and that is not to overwhelm yourself with advice. I know I said at the start, obviously, to seek professional guidance and professional help, and there is a lot of things out there and resources and whatever else that you can indulge in, but please, for the love of God, don't start overwhelming yourself and thinking you've got to do 1,000,001 different things to have a happy, well-rounded, fulfilled dog. There's so much information out there. Please do not try and do everything at once. Think of it as like a skill. If you were to pick a skill that you wanted to get good at, you would work on that one skill and that one skill alone. Whereas if you were to maybe pick up around 10 to 15 different skills, you're probably only going to be quite half-arsed at all of those things because you can't dedicate all of your time to doing all of those things. Whereas if you just prioritize one thing and get really, really good at it, you'll see a much better outcome. You need to actually focus on what works for your situation and your dog. You know, just because you've seen a post on here's why heel work is important doesn't mean that you have to then go away and do that. You need to focus on what works for your dog and forget about the rest. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, how the heck do I know what I need to focus on? Of course, that's where the professional help comes in. My last piece of advice, and this is something that I see so many people fail on, and that is skipping the foundations. Please take your sweet ass time with your dog. There is no race. There is no rush. You don't have to get in there before they're 2 years old because they've hit adolescence and all this jazz. You need to just prioritize where you're at with your dog. Just like the previous point, if you focus on a number of things and get really, really good at it, you'll smash it out. I can promise you that. You know, it's really fun that you want to focus on all the shiny things and all the really cool, flashy things that you might see on social media, but the reason you see those things is because those people didn't skip the foundations, whereas if you implement the foundations, you can be exactly like those guys. And you know, I'll always bang on about these, but I do truly believe that if you follow our 7 core pillars, you're gonna smash it out with your dog. Just to give you a little bit of insight, that is health and well-being, diet and nutrition, fulfillment, rest and recovery, relationship, structure and boundaries, and clear communication with your dog. Nailing them will beat any training method or quick win. You need to get them right first, and then everything else is just going to build on top. So to wrap up, that's my advice that for some strange reason I don't see anyone else giving. You know, it's not sexy, it's not fun, it's not quick, but it is very, very useful. And it's the stuff that's actually going to make a difference with your Gundog. So take this information into account and everything will become much easier.